Hello and welcome. My name is Lisa Lacascio-Nighthawk, and I'm the chair of the Antioch MFA in Creative Writing program. It's wonderful to be with you here today to celebrate the graduates of our Lilac cohort in the MFA program here at our December 2025 MFA graduation. I was just telling people outside that I think I have a personality flaw because I love graduations. Having a job where I lead them twice a year is actually great. And I say that because I know a lot of people dislike graduations. And so I was thinking about why we disparage the graduation. And I think part of it is because it's one of the only rituals in our culture that's kind of created for a pure expression of emotion. And that's uncomfortable, right? As is an ending, a celebration of an ending, which is also a portal that is transformational and that promises change. All of those things have a fair amount of discomfort associated with them. And so I want to thank you all for being here with us today in all of those uncomfortable, sticky, maybe sentimental, maybe heavy, maybe wonderful, if you're me, wonderful feelings. So this is a very, very special cohort. And as I've been thinking about how to talk about our experiences together, I realized just the extent to which I have really thought of all of the members of this cohort really as sort of extensions of my own family. And I think that's true for so many of us here in the program. And we're just so grateful for all of you and so very, very proud of you. And in celebration of that feeling, we have an unprecedented 4 graduation speakers because we got these really wonderful speeches submitted to us, and we were like, what if we were maximalists? What if we said yes and? What if we took the space that every one of these graduates deserves to feel the magnitude of their accomplishment? So I'm not going to talk for that long, but don't worry, I'll be back and I'm going to talk more. But for right now, I'm just going to welcome up our first graduation speaker, and I will introduce each speaker. So our first speaker is Jamie Estepa. Jamie Estepa is a queer Filipinx American educator, poet, spoken word artist, and writer for the stage and screen, whose work aims to uplift our QT BIPOC community and shine light on Filipinx histories. They are a 2-time Lambda Literary Fellow and VONA Voices alum, both in playwriting and screenwriting, as well as a Periplus Fellow in poetry. With roots in Las Vegas, Nevada, and San Diego, California, Jamie now lives, works, and creates in Los Angeles. Please welcome Jamie to the podium.
Thank you, Lisa. Dear Lilacs, as I was figuring out what to share as a proud member of the Lilac cohort, I stumbled upon an informative article on marthastewart.com, yes, titled How to Grow and Care for Lilacs for Beautiful Blooms Year After Year. It says, once established, lilacs are low-maintenance garden staples, but they may need more attention for the first few growing seasons. Are we lilacs now established staples in our collective literary garden? Perhaps the last 2 years, each project period a different growing season. And now that we're fully blossomed, surely we won't need mentors, peers to workshop with, friends to get us through the days when we need to soak in the sun instead of planting more ideas. We're grown now, so of course we won't need much attention, right? Well, marthastewart.com may disagree. Despite the low maintenance claim, the article acknowledges the truth that we will need support throughout the rest of our lives, that perhaps not everywhere we try to plant roots will be the right soil for us, that we must be pruned and leave behind old versions of ourselves, old beliefs and divergent branches that no longer contribute to where we're going in our story. We prune and we prune so that we may bloom again and again after our initial sprouting. And despite our best efforts, no life will be without pests that might try to feed on our energy, target us out in the field for our diverse and pretty colors, erode and eradicate from us what we've worked so hard to cultivate. And yet, every other section of the article reiterates a specific fact. The lilac and all its varieties is hardy. Merriam-Webster says the word hardy is synonymous with the word bold or brave, accustomed to dealing with fatigue or hardships, capable of withstanding adverse conditions. If you ask me, a figurative lilac, I'd define hardy as our cohort, our perseverance, our wherewithal to stand here before you at commencement, bold enough to pursue a career in literature and in writing, brave to bear witness and write about what we've seen in a world struck with division, with genocide, with censorship, with hate. Accustomed to dealing with fatigue and hardship as one unprecedented event, followed by another unprecedented event, followed by another one unfolding before us as we write to the next deadline, edit every stanza, every scene, every line, every moment to a T, so that maybe our manuscript turned books and stage productions, TV shows and films, maybe the stories from inside the minds of us hardy lilacs will convince an editor, a publisher, a producer to devour every last crumb of language on the page and say that is the story we need to tell right now. But why? And for what? Now that's something the article doesn't have an answer for. It abruptly ends on the note of common problems, notably the potential to develop a fungal disease and experience an infestation of moths. Still, it also closes with offerings for potential solutions for a cure. After this deep dive on gardening, I think about how the stories that we write, even about a flower and our lives, will never be without conflict, without a problem, without us trying to answer some sort of central dramatic question. And these questions only come when we allow ourselves to start to consider our own potentials as people and as writers, and of who might pick up our book, of which audience members might be in the theater, and who among them needs to receive the stories the most, the ones we're here to tell for their growth, and sometimes more importantly, their pruning. Perhaps the solution lies in telling the emotional truth in our stories that will reveal more about this imperfect world that we share, a world where it often feels like the sky is constantly falling around us. Perhaps, as Antioch MFA graduates, we have a collective responsibility to tap into our hardiness, to pull from the lessons we've learned in this growing season, to extend the love and care that we've received here at Antioch outwards, so that our community, those among us, and those we'll never meet, may bloom year after year after year. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Our second speaker today is Laura Lemoon. Laura Lemoon is a journalist, writer, and artist, illuminating the issue of violence against people in the sex trade. Her writing has been featured in the Wall Street Journal, Bellevue Literary Review, the Huffington Post, Salon, the Daily Beast, Seattle Times, and more. She lives in Seattle, Washington, with her rescue Chihuahua, Coco Bean. Please welcome Laura to the podium.
Hi, everyone. I did a little bit of a bonehead move and didn't print out my stuff, so I'm just going to be sitting here, and you all get to look at Danny DeVito saying he's feminist AF. But we'll make it work because we're lilacs, and that's what we do. So Salman Rushdie once said, "What one writer can make in the solitude of one room is something that no power can easily destroy." What we don't have a lot of right now is a clear path to the future. A world of abundance instead of a world of greed and monetary gluttony. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm scared. Many of my cohort sitting here today are undoubtedly scared. We cannot deny or make fit into flowery words what the world is right now. But we have been here before. Maybe not those of us sitting here about to graduate. Maybe not in our lifetime, but the earth we walk on, the trees, the living, breathing spirit of the winds, the moon, the ocean, they have all seen this before. Poet Nayyirah Waheed has said, "I don't pay attention to the world ending. It has ended for me many times and began again in the morning." The power we bear as truth tellers is a political atmosphere, in a political atmosphere of lies and hatred, will be beacons in the storm. If not for others, then for our own selves, first and foremost. Everything is political, and your truth, whether it be through the vehicle of poetry, fiction, nonfiction, speculative, screenwriting, or children's writing, will not be easily destroyed. Your very existence is political, and by this virtue, you can never be removed from your capacity to speak truth to power. Even if you think your writing doesn't change the world, that it doesn't matter to other people or facilitate positive change, it does so through you. Writing changes us, the writers. By virtue of this, we will walk into the world changed people from this program and mightier truth tellers. The magic of writing is not being published by a big five. It's not landing a big Manhattan agent. It is not getting a six-figure deal or a multi-book deal. The magic is how our truth from the medium of writing makes us better, more compassionate, empathetic people in solidarity with and for others. We are not graduating in the greatest political circumstances. To brush over this in the name of a kind of disingenuous, toxic positivity would be a disservice to us. Writing is a completely solitary activity done in complete concert with history, society, culture, and the people who have shaped our lives and characters on the page. It is solitary and it is not. It is truth-telling in solidarity and harmony. It is through the risk of vulnerable honesty, through our words on the page, that propels us towards a more human future. That elicits compassion for others and compassion for ourselves. It is being vulnerable enough to reach through the page for connection, regardless of the result, that compels us to know ourselves and to seek to understand our neighbor. To my fellow graduating student body, I wish you strength to stand in your truth, in your mission, in your dreams and ideals, to make the world better for yourselves and by extension, each other. Remember, the world always begins again in the morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Our third speaker today is Shayla Garcia-Mazzari. Shayla Garcia-Mazzari is a Latina storyteller and multimedia artist whose work speaks to the themes of assimilationist violence, immigration, and grief. Her writing has appeared in the Latino Book Review and has been nominated for the James Kirkwood Literary Prize and the Allegra Johnson Writing Prize. She lives in Grand Rapids, Michigan, with 4 spoiled rescue cats, Kyo, Yuki, Haru, and Rin. Please welcome Shayla to the podium.
Okay. Cool. Good afternoon, everyone. So it's my pleasure to be speaking to you today. To my fellow lilacs, each of us flowers that bear a range of shades and a range of hopes. Congratulations to us. I suspect that this stage stirs feelings of excitement and maybe trepidation as well. The Antioch MFA program has provided us with a wonderful, supportive community to hone our craft, and stepping out of that community is bittersweet. We're off to write on our own. If you're me, you're already doing this, edit late into the night, wrestle with the publishing industry, and create art in a world that is forever changing in ways that can be overwhelming. And in some instances, those changes seem intent on destroying our creativity completely. Yet, in moments of fear and trepidation, it is art that humans turn toward. From streaming shows or picking up an instrument during the COVID shutdown, to the countless poems and murals adorning our streets resisting the kidnapping of our undocumented neighbors. Art helps us not only process our feelings, but recognize the humanity in each other. So as we continue our journey as writers in a world that is changing in frustrating and scary ways, I turn to art to help us process. Sola así he de irme, como las flores que perecieron, nada quedará en mi nombre, nada de mi fama aquí en la tierra, al menos flores, al menos cantos, cantos de Xochitl. These words are part of a poem attributed to Ayocuan Quetzalcoatl, believed to have been recited during the fall of the Mexica city of Tenochtitlan to the Spanish conquistadors. This was a time of great and devastating change for Ayocuan's people. The Mexica tradition was oral, and in their language, they often used two like terms to describe a third term. Poetry and artistic pursuits were known as insochit, inquicuat, or the flower, the song. This poem, then, translates as such. Only this is to be left of me. Like the flowers that withered, nothing will be left in my name, nothing of my fame here on earth, at least flowers, at least songs, songs of Xochitl. At least flowers, at least songs. May we be able to leave something behind even as the world changes around us. May we find the strength to write our truths. May we continue to create, even if the worlds we shape with love and care are no longer reminiscent of our present. Our Antioch program cohort has shaped us into flowers, lilacs to be specific. May we now go forth and share our songs as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Shayla. Our final graduating student speaker today is Tori Grace Nichols. Tori Grace Nichols is a radical queer, gender-expansive, angelic troublemaker. As a writer, prismatic performance artist, and filmmaker, they seek to disrupt dominant narratives around adoption, gender, and race. They currently live in Durham, North Carolina with their wife, Leilani Dowell, and their pocket Great Dane pup, Dana Dane DeVito. Please welcome Tori Grace to the podium.
I wore my stepping stools today. Ooh, okay. What a wild time to be alive. Congratulations to everyone who made it, not just the graduates and Antiochians, but everyone here and attending online. You did it, you're alive, no small feat. Being human is very hard. My friend Aimee says our souls choose the type of life we want to live. Well, I have a bone to pick with my soul because I have no idea why I would choose to be a human in this country at this moment and time. But perhaps it is to be here and to have the honor to address you today. In screenwriting, we're tasked with developing a world and a premise, or a foundation of a story, and then to have characters do the things that make sense for that world. When this is accomplished, the reader or viewer trusts that we will deliver the promise we've set up with our premise. The characters and events exist in service to the foundation. If we receive feedback that one of our characters or one of the events feel out of alignment with the original premise, we are also tasked with finding a way to fix it. So, if the lead characters of, say, the United States claim that the premise of this story is freedom, justice, and liberty for all, we could ask, do their actions align with the original premise? Do we trust the leaders or the original authors? Or are we confused? I believe we are in a moment of crucial feedback. Some of us have been yelling that from the beginning, there were some major plot holes in this story. But it just kept barreling forward for some God-granted green light or whatever. So, what do? How do we fix it? How do we regain the people's trust? The solution could be reworking the original premise, but if the original premise is worn out and tired, it could be creating a new one. An astrologer I follow called Goddess says, let yourself be new. And writer-director Adam McKay says, let things be true. And then ask, then what? Your character talks to trees. Then what? Multiple universes exist at the same time. Then what? Deadlines are not stressful at all. Then what? Food is free. Then what? Queer and trans people are considered holy. Then what? No jails or prisons. Then what? All of us vow to repair our relationship with the earth. Then what? No ending is inevitable. We study craft so we can make better, more compelling stories. We deserve that. We don't have to accept the stories written for us, especially if we were not involved. And personally, I am bored with white supremacy and capitalism and patriarchy. I'm tired of them. I do not want to see those shows renewed. But we all know a network somewhere is probably going to pick them up again at some point. And in case you haven't been watching the show America, we're in about season 10, where authoritarianism tries to return. It's very stressful. The stakes are very high. They're higher for some of us than others. But all of us are at risk for repeating history, for letting the past keep a chokehold on our future. If ever there was a time to be brave, to find it within you, to take action, to create a new and unexpected outcome, this is it. Let us write new worlds. Let us gift ourselves and future generations a different narrative. Despite having a completely wrecked central nervous system, I do believe that we can find our way out of this dark night of the soul. The moment where it feels like all hope is lost. I'm ready for the plot twist. And when I look around and I see the passionate and caring and talented and innovative people in this room, I am not worried for the future. I believe we can get out of this mess, and it will be us, the creatives, who lead the way. Congratulations, MFA graduates, my beloved lilacs. Let's get it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I've been to so many graduations, and speeches can sometimes be a little, like telling us things we already know, but I can't recall like this quartet of 4 speeches. So amazing. Thank you so much. Just gorgeous. Really, and really I think represents just the bounty of our Lilac cohort. So I'm Alistair McCartney, teaching faculty, and it is an honor to introduce our commencement guest speaker for this afternoon, Dr. Khadija Queen. Khadija Queen is the author of 8 books of innovative poetry, hybrid prose, and creative nonfiction. Her memoir, Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea, was published in August of this year. A book of criticism, Radical Poetics, Essays on Literature and Culture, was published by University of Michigan Press in January of this year. With Keobura, she co-edited Infinite Constellations, an anthology of speculative writing by authors from the global majority. Her most recent poetry book is Anodyne, published by Tin House, which was a finalist for the Colorado Book Award and winner of the William Carlos Williams Award from the Poetry Society of America. And Khadija gave a reading to us, I guess, 2 nights ago, I think, which my sense of time is a little blurred, which was just amazing. Her 5th book, I'm So Fine, A List of Famous Men and What I Had On, was praised in O Magazine, The New Yorker, and elsewhere as quietly devastating and a portrait of defiance that turns the male gaze inside out. Her verse play Non Sequitur won the Leslie Scalapino Award for Innovative Women's Performance Writing and included a full production at Theatre Lab in New York City, directed by Fiona Templeton. Khadijah's work has been published in Harper's, American Poetry Review, the Georgia Review, the Believer, Fence Poetry, Yale Review, the Poetry Review, and elsewhere. In 2022, she was awarded a Disability Futures Fellowship from United States Artists. A Cave Canem alum and Civitella Ranieri Fellow, she holds a PhD in English and Literary Arts from University of Denver and an MFA in creative writing from a little place you might have heard of called Antioch University, Los Angeles. As a creative writing professor, she has taught American literature, poetics, and all genres of creative writing at the University of Colorado in Boulder, Regis University, and Virginia Tech. In 2025, she received the Cy Twombly Award for Poetry from the Foundation for Contemporary Arts. And Khadijah is currently writing a new book of poetry and a collection of travel essays. She works in multiple genres, so please let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Khadijah Queen.
Thank you so much, Alistair. Thank you, everybody, for your work, for your brilliance. It's been such a joy to come back to my alma mater for this residency and to be surrounded by such talent and kindness. And thank you, Lisa, for inviting me back home, and to everybody who has made this thing run so smoothly. I really appreciate all of you. Lilacs, I painted my nails for you. Thank you for your dedication. For this commencement speech, I want to tell you a story about the past, about presence, and about the future. An historic musical battle took place in the summer of 2024. It was a battle of lyric and identity, authenticity and skill, real cultural connection versus cultural appropriation, education versus entertainment, and even morals versus depravity. It was a systematic dismantling of a surface product and a loving elevation of an art form rooted in the pain and ingenuity of Blackness. Since we are in LA and it's my home city, of course, I am on the side of Kendrick Lamar. Compton native and 5-time Grammy winner for his album GNX, which is an epic homage to rap music and its cultural staying power, when wielded by those who want to use that power for more than just personal or capitalistic enrichment. If you're a music head, you know that Kendrick Lamar's album preceding GNX, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, gained critical acclaim and that it's not much of a dance record. It leans more complex than simply beats made for you to shake your body at the club. Canadian pop entertainer Drake is on the opposite end of that spectrum. Accused of being a culture vulture by Lamar in his worldwide chart-topping track, Not Like Us, which was a dance record, in direct response to Drake's accusation that Lamar could not make one. "You're not a colleague," Lamar says, after listing all the various styles Drake has copied from various regions of the US. "You a fucking colonizer." Lamar also accuses Drake of playing the victim when criticized. And rather than addressing confrontation directly like Kendrick, he instead takes to social media, faking for likes and digital hugs. I give all this backstory to say that Lamar is talking about community. He's talking about having gone inward in Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers to deal with the toxic belief systems that damaged his relationships and his mental health, to deal with the grief of losing people close to him. 16, to be specific, he raps on whacked out murals. "I done been through it all. What you endure," he continues. And yet, let me back up a little. The beef started when rappers Drake and J. Cole called Lamar out as one of the big three rappers with them as they performed in front of a CGI Super Bowl audience in a music video. Kendrick, several months later, on his own time, cooked up a scorching response. He knew the truth would keep. And when he had time, He let them know that no, actually, I am the only one who can claim the title of the best rapper. Lamar featured on a song with 2 other artists who also had beef with Drake from their album titled We Don't Trust You. And he raps, F the big 3, it's just big me, bum. There are metaphors about violent lyrical takedowns, about authenticity, foregrounding real skill honed by constant practice, hard work, and rigorous study. Your best work is a light pack, Lamar raps, and warns Drake and Cole against testing him. Drake, of course, did not heed that warning. He schemed behind the scenes, according to Lamar, paying other rappers to write his raps, and allegedly paying real-life henchmen with Bitcoin to do physical violence against Kendrick and his family, a failed orchestration. Neither Drake's songs nor his behavior could stand up against an artist like Lamar, who grew up doing battle rap in Compton, and is the only rapper to have won a Pulitzer for his writing. Lamar had also stored up a dozen years of disliking Drake, for many reasons I won't go into. The most important of which, rumor has it, is that Drake wanted to take partial credit for Kendrick's rise and wanted Lamar to brown nose after he featured him on a hit song called Poetic Justice. All of this ill will came to a head with the song exchanges in the summer of 2024 and unleashed for Lamar that Grammy-winning album and a performance of the songs on that album at a very real, not CGI, Super Bowl halftime show. Now, I know we're talking about 2 multimillionaires here, I get that, and they are both commercial artists, but stay with me. What I am tasking you with, as graduates of Antioch University, Los Angeles, is to know when it's time to gather your resources, to organize and to plan in response to unjust challenges from incompetence, to make what you make, even when it has to be in shadow, to use those rich and abundant shadows to make the best possible work you can, and then publish, present, and share when the time is right. And like Kendrick said, alluding to the late Nipsey Hussle, never let no one put smut upon your name. Behave and think and treat yourselves and one another with integrity. Will it always be easy to hold such patience, even in self-defense? No. But there's an art to both. I invite you to define what that looks like for you as we endure this horribly contentious era. I hope you know that your approach will evolve as life and haters continue to test you and even to threaten your life. In 616 in LA, one of the earlier tracks in the diss war, Lamar says, "There's opportunity when living with loss. I discover myself when I fall short." Let your future mistakes be sites of discovery. Let your victories be community victories. We celebrate you. Don't insult my intelligence, Kendrick says. I'm not just for the television. Let your grief and pain be communal too. Teleport the bullets rolling, dig up all my relatives. Lamar's music comes from lived experience and drastic loss. Drake's gangster posturing, however, is fake. Too often that's what gets foregrounded by the mainstream. Often we at Antioch go against that plastic grain. Here at Antioch, we are often earnest in a way that gets dissed by this world full of Drake types, flashy, posturing, even visually considered more marketable or likable. Paid actors playing whatever roles to net them the most cash. Lamar, on the other hand, remains generously and quietly rooted in his community, focused on his art, supported by a loyal cadre of other artists and longtime collaborators, and he is most definitely prospering. I wish that kind of existence for you, Lilacs, and for all of us. You do not know me well, but you can count me in that peripheral number, cheering you in this next phase of your creative life. There is an art to integrity, and it does not have to be in opposition to popularity or acclaim. There are many ways to define both. I encourage you to do that defining for yourselves, and you're going to forgive my non-native pronunciation. In her poem, Vértigos o Contemplación de algo que termina, or Vertigo, or a contemplation of things that come to an end, Buenos Aires poet Alejandra Pizarnik writes, "Esta lila se deshoja, desde sí misma cae y oculta su antigua sombra, ha de morir de cosas así." Yvette Siegert translates as follows, "This lilac unleaves. It falls from itself and hides in its ancient shadow. I will die of such things. In your unleaving, in your evolution beyond this MFA, when and if you might fall from yourselves, do not hide that transformation, and do not hide your ancient shadows. Use what you've learned and the connections you've made to embrace the light you find, to embrace the light offered to you, and use your art and skill to show us, in poem and story, the infinite futures we can invent, the infinite ways we can imagine we will live. Thank you.
Thank you, Khadijah. Well, it says here on the script that I make a short speech, and I certainly feel great about that after all of those speeches. So I think, when I thought about what I would use, really just, I promise, a tiny little amount of time to say. Something that we talk about a lot at Antioch is community. The motto of the program is community, not competition. This is different from many programs where I don't even think it's subtext. I think it's text that you are in competition with the other members of the program, which is an academic environment that I was very accustomed to before I came here. And so I had never really considered how horrible and unpleasant that idea is. In my own education and in my career, for a long time, I was on the young side for a graduate student, for a teacher. And so it was also just not visible to me. I suppose you could say in some ways I felt that, well, I didn't feel that I was winning, but by sheer nature of endlessly staying in school, I was at least in the competition. And so it really wasn't until I got to Antioch that I started to contemplate how problematic that frame was. And, one of the paradoxes of that realization comes from the fact that, and I say this with some shame, it really wasn't until my PhD that I really sort of understood and it came into focus the violence of capitalism particularly. It had never been presented to me to think about like that, which says things about where I come from and what kind of education I had. I've been raised with all of these progressive values, but that the economic piece was kind of mysteriously absent. And it took marrying a complicated person from another country to really learn about that. And I'm always grateful to my first husband for that perspective because he was from a different society and culture. He just saw things in a really different way. And I think about how much I grew from that. And so that kind of became the thing that I was most interested in, was encountering people other than me and learning from the space between us. When I listen to students talk about what they will miss about Antioch, there's a lot of talk about community. And that has felt really real for me this year because I have personally derived so much value from our community in a really, really frightening time. And when I say value, I mean, again, that's like a market phrase. You can't escape it, right? But what I really mean is grounding, a sense of knowing what to do. In some ways, my role is a caregiving role, distinct from being a parent, but akin to being a parent in that when I'm taking care of my kid, I know what to do, right? Which isn't to say I don't suffer anxiety or, self-doubt, but it's very basic with a small child, right? You feed them, you clothe them, you try to get them to go to sleep. And there's an element of that at Antioch too. It's not always simple to solve the problems that arise or to find, a guest who fulfills my many desires and the desires of the team as we think about it. But it's an intellectual problem that I can solve. Unlike, say, the fires in Los Angeles that led my family to flee the city for 6 weeks, or the ice raids that continue to take place everywhere in this country, and specifically in our city in Los Angeles. Antioch is a place where our efforts can be concentrated toward good and that good can be created. That's such an amazing feeling, really. I mean, I don't want to say I take it for granted, but I'm used to it. I can answer an email and truly solve a problem. It may not be like a existential problem, but it's a good feeling, and not one actually that I had necessarily had that much of before I came into this role. So that's one facet of the community that we value from my perspective, although I think all of you, whether students or faculty, know what I'm talking about, because in the context of our creative world together, in the context of your work and getting it done, there are clear tasks, and they are met, and they are answered, and there's progress along a path. And by contrast, the rest of the world, and maybe the rest of your life, can feel really unformed and lonely. But unlike our wonderful cohorts, I do not graduate, right? I stay here. And so I've had to start to think about balance, because if I'm not careful, I will give all of my energy to the program. And I often reflect on trying to be a writer who also has this really important caregiving job. And I don't really know how to balance it. I think balance is an illusion. But it occurred to me while I was thinking about what to say that maybe talking about that challenge would be helpful for all of you as you graduate. Because the program is still going to be part of your life, and kind of you get to participate with it as much or as little as you want. And you can always turn that knob up or down, you know? You can be very involved as an alum. You can totally ghost us for a decade and then show up again. But I think what graduation reveals is that the onus for that balance and that sort of how do I have and create and take care of my community, and also have and create for myself as an artist, becomes a lot sharper. What I can say is that anything that I've figured out about how to tackle this problem for myself has just come from being around all of you. And that doesn't change because you're graduating. In fact, I really believe that for you, as it has been for me, this is really only the beginning of a wonderful, wonderful process of paying special attention to the world around you and all the stories within it. And one of those stories is the story of your own intuition. So I want you to feel like you know what is right for you, and like you know when something is not right for you, and that is just as important as anything else you experience with your friends, with your fellow writers, in your career. And that the more you get interested in that story, the story of your feeling and your intuition, you cannot lose. You can only keep learning. So, I said it was going to be short. Now, I think we're going to present the candidates for the degree of Master of Fine Arts. So thank you for listening, and we will set up for that.
Thank you, Lisa and Khadijah, for those heartfelt speeches. So I have the honor to present and recommend the following candidates for the MFA in Creative Writing Master's degree. Will the candidates for the Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing please line up one row at a time to receive their diplomas? Graduates, please come forward as directed by the faculty marshal as your name is called. Or by somebody else. And I think you both set up. Do you have everything you need?
We're just conferring.
Tyler Bame. Nick Barain. Edmund Kai. Very exciting. Jacqueline Di Chang. Jonathan C. Chow. Jamie Estepa. Lisa Caroline Friedman. Jordan Guevara. Lauren Howard. Morgan Leanne Jenkins. Sarah Emma Irene Pauline Kahane. Laura Lamoon. Shayla Garcia Mazzari. Tori Grace Nichols. Paparuna. Ozzy Rodriguez. Holly Deanne Staukup. And Jack. Oh. Jack took a good photo. So what a gorgeous cohort, right? Oh my gosh. I also want to share the names of our Lilac cohorts who aren't in attendance tonight. Grace Kerfman. Elise Morgan. Valerie Nicole Nyberg. Miriam Emperotto. Robin Raven. Caroline Marie Shannon. And Ariadne Will. Will the candidates for the degree of Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing please rise? Lisa, on behalf of the faculty, I present to you for appropriate recognition these candidates for the degree of Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing.
MFA candidates, upon the recommendation of the faculty of Antioch University, Los Angeles, and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Governors of Antioch University, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Master of Fine Arts with all the rights, honors, and responsibilities pertaining hereto. I've talked a lot. I'm supposed to give you a charge. The charge I came up with is simple. There's an African gray parrot who is known to have had really complicated, in-depth relationships and conversations with humans. I'm sorry to say that I'm nervous and I'm forgetting his name. But his last words to his companion human before he died was, "You be good. I love you."
Please stand for the recessional and join us for a reception for graduates and their guests immediately following the ceremony. It's in the courtyard, right outside not really the front, those doors of the lobby, the interior courtyard. The platform party and the MFA faculty will lead the recessional, followed by graduates.